It's a big festival. ISKCON Juhu celebrates its anniversary today. So every year, thousands of people are served Khichdi Prasadam. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj is today landing in Mumbai from his trip after Kenya visit and Mauritius visit. 25th anniversary of the Kenya temple, Radha Banke Bihari temple. And then he is visiting, he will be reaching Mumbai today for the great food distribution or prasadam distribution campaign. During book distribution, there is prasadam distribution also happening. So, other than that, we have two important festivals, which is the Disappearance Day of Srila Ramchandra Kaviraj Pad and the Appearance Day of Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Ideally, we should look at all these conceptions from a Gaudiya angle, Gaudiya vision, Gaudiya perspective. There may be many festivals. So, even if it is Ramanavami, if it is Narasimha Chaturdashi, we should look at opportunities to see what is a Gaudiya conception. How is it that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is connected to this? Because we are fundamentally Gaudiyas. And therefore, it is important to understand these festivals from that context. So, I said in the beginning, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and Om Namo Bhagavate Gaurachandraya. Neither are we studying Bhagavatam directly nor Chaitanya Charitamrita directly. But we will be taking pastimes from Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, in connection with this, we'll try to see how we can understand this. Let's start a bit with Ganga, Sagar, Mela and Makar Sankranti. We must remember that as per the Hindu calendar, generally we follow the lunar calendar, Hindu or Sanatana Dharma calendar, or even the Gaudiya vision, for example. What we do is fundamentally, we try our best to follow the lunar calendar, because Gaurachandra, Krishna Chandra, Ramachandra, although Ramchandra appeared in the Surya Vamsha, but is all connected to the lunar calendar in general. However, it's one of the few festivals, Makar Sankranti, which is celebrated as per the solar calendar. Historically, it is celebrated on January 14th till a very recent time. Now, as per the solar calendar, because the sun is on its path, the Uttarayana is a period which starts now, starting December 21st onwards, and they say that Makar Sankranti and Uttarayana period starting are the same. So there are various views on this. What we need to understand is this date change. Yesterday, Rajendrandan Prabhu sent out the Hindi WhatsApp message on this basis. It's also there in various other sources. Makar Sankranti basically is a period, the Makar Sankranti period from January 14 to the Karka Sankranti in July, on July 16. These are a period called, that is called Uttarayana. Now, every year, 20 minutes are added to the time that is taken by the sun in its movement. So 20 minutes every year means in 72 years, how many minutes? 24 hours. How many minutes I said, not hours. So 40 minutes, which is 24 hours. So 1 day is added. If we go on like this, it is mentioned that by the year 9000, sometime Makar Sankranti will appear sometimes in June. And the whole winter solstice period that is starting now will be coming much later. So anyway, we don't want to get caught in all this, because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kalo asmin loka kshayakrit pravritto lokan samahartumiham pravritta. The point is, Krishna is time. And we have to see how do we connect our time to Krishna's. Ayur harati vai pumsam. Udden nastam jayannasau. And then what? Yasyarte takshano nita. Uttama shloka vartaya. Time goes by the rising and setting of the sun and the changing of the seasons. People's lifespans are reduced. Except for those who immerse themselves in glorifying the Supreme Lord. Uttama shloka vartaya. So that is the purpose. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. We do Bhagavati Uttama Shloka every day, so that there is an opportunity for us to remember Krishna even in this. And so this is about Makar Sankranti. Some people confuse it as the Uttarayana period, the same, which is not the same. Uttarayana period is from Makar Sankranti into Karka Sankranti. For Vaishnavas, it is very special because they say that around this period of Uttarayana, Bhishma Dev decided to end his earthly journey or presence, and in front of the Supreme Lord, in the presence of the Supreme Lord and the Pandavas and all the great sages of the time, whose names are all mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in first canto, Bhishma Dev left his body. Now every year I remember His Grace Jitamitra Prabhu tells us the exact calculation. Bhishma Dev fell on the 10th day of Kurukshetra battle, and then he was in the Sharashaya for about 56 days or 58 days? 58 days. So effectively, after the 8 days of the battle, then another 50 days he was on the bed of arrows. 50 plus 8. So there is some change in calendar which also comes over Kalpa Beda and other things. But in general, that's the calculation that we hear. So we must understand that all these time changes, because we must understand it from the context of earthly context as well as the spiritual context. On the material platform, time erodes us. There is a saying in English called time heals all wounds. But there is another way of looking at it. Time wounds all heals. Everybody becomes old. Everybody gets degenerated. Everybody's body degenerates because of the effect of time. So while understanding these concepts of time, and we must understand that the time is meaningful for us only because it is used in Krishna's service. Chanakya Pandit says that, is quoted often by His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, how even 1 second that is gone cannot be purchased by all the wealth of the world. So we must remember, therefore, that this time that we have, people celebrate it as other festivals, but like devotees have Ajagra Vritti. We use Makar Sankranti also to connect to people. So that's why we see ISKCON celebrates this khichdi distribution and other festivals in Maharashtra, which is very popular. Sankranti is a very important day. So they distribute some. If you go outside the Juhu temple, you will see a board which says some 20 different locations on the Western Express Highway and the Central Express Highway where prasadam is distributed by ISKCON. There are many devotees, even during Srila Prabhupada's centennial, many people, it was a marathon campaign which was distributing khichdi across on Sankranti around that time. So there were many devotees I know who got connected to ISKCON through this distribution campaign. So the idea is, how do we connect more people through these festivals? That is why we celebrate these festivals. Otherwise, Makara Sankranti, okay, we may have some nice prasadam in the morning, Sankranti special. Like in Maharashtra, they have this til gud they distribute. So many people find reasons to celebrate. Because in the material world, there is so much pain. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. People have to find excuses to celebrate. We don't have such problem. Srila Prabhupada has given such a wonderful calendar, so many festivals. Even on Makar Sankranti, so-called day, we have so many festivals. Vasant Panch. And what do we celebrate? Somebody appears, we celebrate. Somebody disappears, we celebrate. So this is how Srila Prabhupada has mercy on us, that we know how to look at life from a Shastra Jakshu. Now, Ganga, Sagar, Mela, there are various aspects that we can look at, but I'll just focus on simply 3-4 things. To start with, Basmi Bhutanga Sankena Swaryatha Sakaratmaja Kimpuna Shraddaya Devim Sevantaya Dhridavridaha. Simply by having water from the Ganges come in contact with the ashes of their burnt bodies, the sons of Sagara Maharaja were elevated to the heavenly planets. Sagara was an ancestor of Lord Ramchandra in the Surya Vansha. Sagara's sons, during the Ashwamedha Yajna, water, the horse was stolen by Indra and tied at Kapila Muni's ashram. Kapila Deva, Supreme Lord, his incarnation. And these 60,000 sons, because they were overcome by passion, they thought that Kapila Muni was the person who stole the horse. So naturally they accused him and used harsh words. And just by they lost all their piety by that, and just by looking at them, he turned them to ashes. So they became ashes, and then of course they were requested, how can we bring these people back? He said, Mother Ganga has to come from the upper realms, and when she is in contact with these ashes, then they will get delivered. So then, of course, there were Sagara's sons also tried. Then there was Dilipa, Asamanjasa, Anshuman. There was several kings who came in between. And finally, Bhagiratha, who was their follower. That is why she is called Bhagirathi. One of the names of Ganga is Bhagirathi. Bhagiratha brought the Ganges from the upper realms. Nakhyetat paramascharya swardhunya yad ihoditam ananta charanam bhoja prasudaya bhavachitaha. Because Mother Ganges emanates from the lotus toe of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Ananta Deva, she is able to liberate one from material bondage. That is why she is able to deliver. Ganges by herself cannot deliver anybody. Nimna Ganam Yatha Ganga. Among those which flow, Nimna Ganam, she is Ganga. Ganga is the topmost, like Vaishnavanam Yatha Shambhu, or Purananam Idam Tadam, about Srimad Bhagavatam. Devanam Achyuto Yatha. Among gods, it's the Supreme Lord Himself. And because she is emanating from the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, therefore Ganges can deliver individual souls. It is actually be seen that one who regularly worships Mother Ganges simply by taking bath in her waters. Taking bath is an ISKCON usage, it's bathing. One can keep oneself spiritually and materially healthy. I know my dear godbrother, his Grace Hayagriva Prabhu, he told me his cholesterol levels went down just because of taking bath in the Ganges in Mayapur, which is pretty good. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj says, and that's a shortcut for all of us who stay away from Ganga. Although Yamuna is, one of the names for Yamuna is also Ganga, and vice versa. So he says, Ganga, 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 or Gange, 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 and you've taken bath. Want to try? Gange, 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 Gange. And we have Gaudiya Vaishnavas who celebrated Ganges so much. Kolabecha Sridhar, who had an eternal pastime of exchanges with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, used to worship the Ganges. And Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who's Pundarik Vidyanidhi in Brajalila? Rishabhanu, Radharani's father. So when Gadadhar Pandit took initiation from him, rightfully, Gadadhar Pandit is Srimati Radharani's form. He also used to, at night, whole day he would behave like an externally materialistic person, and at night he would go and worship the Ganges. Ganga is closely connected to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes. Gam Gamayati iti Ganga, because it flows in the sky. That is why she is called Ganga. Akasha Ganga is this. The Milky Way is called Akasha Ganga, but essentially Ganga's descent from Swarga to earthly planets is mentioned in 9th canto. That is what we see here. But Ganga's emanating from the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and travel till Swarga is mentioned in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that's the connection. Why did we say Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya? It's all in there in Bhagavatam. Although Mother Ganges agreed to come down to earth, she made two conditions. First, she wanted somebody suitable to control her waves because it's very heavy. And second, though all sinful men would be freed from sinful reactions by bathing in the Ganges, Mother Ganges did not want to keep all her sinful reactions. It is mentioned in Brahma Vaivarta Purana also, how mantropasakas will come and deliver her from her sinful reactions that she gets by allowing sinful people to take bath in the Ganges. The mantropasaka is in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. Srila Prabhupada has brought in mantropasakas from across the world to take bath in the Ganges, or to bathe in the Ganges. So, the personality of Godhead, not Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shiva will be able to completely control the waves of Ganga. He is called Gangadhara. One of the names of Lord Shiva is Gangadhara, because he wrapped her up on his matted hair, they say. Bhagiratha did a lot of austerities to satisfy Lord Shiva. In fact, there is a saying in Sanskrit called Bhagiratha Prayatna, which means such a difficult task to achieve. The Greeks have a concept of Sisyphus task, it's called. Sisyphus was given a task by the gods. He was punished. He had to roll a stone all the way up a hill. Then the stone will roll down. Again, he has to roll it up, same stone. It was a punishment. Many tasks were given. So it's called a Sisyphean task, very difficult. But in our Sanatana Dharma, it is Bhagirata Prayatna. Something it's so difficult to get the Ganges from the heavenly realms. What it is mentioned that is there in 5th canto, Shukdev Goswami said, "My dear King Lord Vishnu, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, appeared as Vamana Deva." You have the wonderful photograph of Lord Vamandev there, appearing as the son of Kashyapa and Aditi. And his name is also Upendra, because he's younger brother of Indra. So he's called that. So it's one of the 1,000 names of Vishnu also. Upendra Vavana Pramashur Amoka Sishirurjita, one of the 1,000 names of Vishnu. So when he expanded himself into so many forms, in such a huge size, his left foot, we say in Hindi, baएं हाथ का खेल है, but this is like बाएं पैर का खेल है. Left foot of Lord Vamandev was enough to break through the realms of universal covering. Because originally the Ganges was in the Karana Sagara, the causal ocean. Mixed there, it's spiritual. But a small crack in the universal covering, and Ganges entered through there. Then it is mentioned that the Ganges, it washed the lotus feet of the Lord. It is covered with a reddish powder. So the Ganges acquired a beautiful pinkish color. So in connection with Krishna, anything can change. That is when Nirbandha Krishna Sambandhe. Even festivals we connect to Krishna. Everything. Shri Radha Parthsarathi Lalita Vishakha ki Jai. And then the water of the Ganges descended on Dhruvaloka, which is the topmost planet in this universe. So therefore all the sages and scholars proclaim Dhruvaloka to be Vishnupada. We say Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa. So Vishnupada, one of the, or Vishnupada, it's another way of pronouncing it. It's at the lotus feet of Vishnu. Dhruvaloka is therefore connected to the Supreme Lord. Now, this is very interesting. Srila Prabhupada mentions that the whole created by Lord Vamandeva, from there, Ganges flows down to Dhruvaloka, the pole star, by innumerable celestial airplanes. Then it falls to the top of Mount Meru, which is called Sumeru Parvat. This is how it reaches the lower planets. Of course, it's called Mandakini in the higher planets, Ganga, and then the lower planet she's called Bhogavati. Ganga has different names. She just pierced right through. Despite that fall, she went to the lower planets. She's just so powerful. Celestial airplanes carried the water from the planets of the sages to the other, Tapaloka, to other planets. So that's how it happened. So then, on the top of Mount Meru, she divides into 4 branches, Ganga. Each of which goes in one direction. So she is called Sita, Alakananda, Sita and Sitaram Lakshmana Hanuman ki Jai. Sita, Alakananda, Chakshu and Bhadra. These are the 4 forms of Mother Ganga. They flow down to the ocean. The place where Ganges flows into the salt water of the Bay of Bengal is still known as Ganga Sagara, or the meeting place of the Ganges and the Bay of Bengal. It is assumed that today is the day she entered the earthly planet. Many people celebrate it like that. After the Kumbh Mela, it's probably the single largest festival in India, Ganga Sagar Mela. Lakhs and lakhs of people, they bathe in the Ganges. On Makar Sankranti, which is this period, thousands, lakhs, they gather. For those who bathe in the Ganga at any time, the result of all the great sacrifices, they are attained. There is one famous shloka in Bhagavatam. Yasyatma buddhi kunape tri dhatuke shobit kalatradishu bhome ijadi yat tirtha buddhi salilena karhichit jane shwabajneshu sa eva gokaraha. Acharyas say yat tirtha buddhi salilena, to go to a heavenly place, to go to a holy place, just to take bath in the water and not hearing pastimes from anybody. Because a tirtha becomes tirthi kurvanti tirthani. It is by association of Vaishnavas that you can hear tirthas. Whenever like Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj's yatras happen, all of us should go every year. Find out a way. Even if it means we sacrifice some days of Mayapur festival or this or that, and association of the spiritual master is most essential. We should find out a way to attend these, because in tirthas we can hear about the pastimes of the Lord and Vaishnavas. This time was ecstatic in Dwarka. In Dwarka, hearing about Dwarka and various pastimes. And it was ecstatic. Just tirtha means tirthi kurvanti, you should hear. But otherwise, if you go to a tirtha just to take bath, a tirtha buddhi, salile na karhichi. You take bath in the waters just to get some punya. Many people do that. It's not bad. In statistics, there is a statement, right? Necessary but not sufficient. So this is like that. It is necessary to take bath in the tirthas, but it is not sufficient. You should hear also. But acharyas say, tirthas apply to those rivers other than Ganga and Yamuna. They very clearly mentioned. Acharyas mentioned that. And we know in the Gaudiya conception, Gangara parasa haile paschate pavan darshane pavitra karo jaito margona. Vaishnavas don't have to wait for us to go next to them to purify. The Ganga can purify us only if, of course, we say Ganga is shortcut. But before, in general, we have to go close. Paschate pavan, you have to get close. With proximity, they can purify. But a Vaishnava, he can purify by the mere sight of him. Darshana pavitra kare. So when we look at Ganga, we should look at this conception. And it is mentioned, Ganga said, "O protector, supreme enjoyer, on your departure for the perfect abode Golaka, what will be my situation in the age of Kali?" So, Supreme Personality of Godhead said, this is in Brahma Vaivarta Purana. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Remain on earth for 5,000 years of Kali Yuga. Sinners will deposit their sins in you by bathing." So she said, "What will I do?" And therefore, just as dry grass is burned by fire, by the embrace of Vaishnavas, all sins are burnt. O Ganga, the whole planet will become a pilgrimage site by the presence of Vaishnavas, even though it had been full of sinners and sins. So, Shastra says that all material elements, fire, air, sky, these are all very pure. Even though the air carries impurities, by itself the air is pure. So this means that Vaishnavas can purify even the pure elements. Water which is otherwise pure. We use water to purify also. Like we go to the altar first, even before we chant mantras, we first wash our feet, then we wash up our hands. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj instructs clearly that all his disciples, when they go to the altar, they should, first of all, instructs that all Brahmanas should go to the altar at least once a week. There's no use wearing a thread otherwise. We should try to please spiritual master. He says that on Brahman Diksha day. Second, when we go, we should purify by washing our feet there. There is a tap there. And then you can wash your hands also. It's very, very essential. So this water by itself can purify. It doesn't, you don't even have to chant mantras. Of course, you empower them with mantras, it's even better. You say Ganga Chamane Cheva, and then you use bija mantras like Omkara or others to purify the water. Then you can use them. So the Vaishnavas' potency is completely spiritual. Therefore, their purity is spiritual, not material. Water by itself can be pure materially. It can cleanse. So, Bharatamrita Sarvasvam Vishnu Vaktrad Vinishrutam Gita Gangodakam Pitva Punarjanmana Vidyate. Bhagavad Gita comes from the mouth of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the Ganges is said to emanate from the lotus feet of the Lord. Which is better? Lotus feet or lotus mouth? So there's no difference between Angani Asa Sakalayandra Vritti Manti. But from an impartial study, we can understand that study of Bhagavad Gita is even more superior to just taking part in the Gangas. So every day we should study Bhagavad Gita. Srila Gopal Krishna Goswami mentions that every day we should study at least one shloka of the Gita with the purports. Of course, we shouldn't cheat by choosing small shlokas. like there are some chapters in which there is no purport also, some shlokas. Jitananda Prabhu, when His Grace Jitananda Prabhu, Sri Bhagavan ne kaha, he is not commented on the shlokas where Prabhupada has not commented. So we should not choose those shlokas. We should choose the ones where there are purports and study them. So that is very essential. Of course, from the Gaudiya conception, we'll spend one more minute. Ganga ji appeared as daughter of Nityanand Prabhu and Vasudha Mataji. And Abhiram Thakur's pastime of, blasting all charlatan deities and devotees is there. He offered obeisances to Ganga ji, that is daughter of Nityananda, and she was just smiling. Nothing happened. Everything's so this time we have not been deceived, he said. We have not been cheated. Abhiram Thakur said that. So then he composed 100 verses in in glorification of Ganga. Like Keshav Kashmiri did the same thing, Ganga Shatakam. And then Jayadev Goswami's pastimes are also closely connected to Gangaji. Gangaji herself came so that he could take bath there, close to his place. Ganga Mata Goswamini had the same pastime connected. She's also a great Vaishnavi. Ganga came all the way to the lotus feet of Jagannathji and washed her there. So Ganga is closely connected to pastimes. And of course, she prayed to the Supreme Lord that Yamunaji got so many pastimes. I never got any of your pastimes. And Lord Chaitanya awarded her so much wonderfully. Every day he would bathe in the Ganges. From there, the Ganges became so eager when the Lord went off to Jagannath Puri, because he used to bathe in the ocean 3 times a day. So that is why it is mentioned, Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharyas say that Ganges is so eager to flow into Ganga Sagara, because she can mix into the ocean where the Supreme Lord will be, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be bathing in Jagannath Puri, because it's the Bay of Bengal. So that we can understand is how it is essential for us as a Gaudiya conception to look at it. And Mahaprabhu appeared himself on a lunar eclipse. On a lunar eclipse he appeared. It was a lunar eclipse. Why you're confused? It was a lunar eclipse. Akalanga Gaurachandra Dilo Darshana Sakalanga Chandrana hi Kono Prayojana. It was a Purnima, but Rahu decided to swallow the moon because the moon is imperfect. Gaurachandra is perfect. Nitai Gaurachandra is perfect. So on that day, because on lunar eclipse, people bathe in the Ganges. And they chant the holy name of the Lord. So everyone was bathing in the Ganges that day and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. He was making everyone chant, even the Yavanas were chanting. Advaita Acharya brought the Supreme Lord to the material world. How? By worshipping Saligram, Shila, Tulsi and Ganga Jal. So Ganges is closely connected to our Gaudiya conception. This is something that we need to really keep in mind. And he took sannyas on the banks of Ganga, Katwa. He inaugurated this Sankirtan movement on the banks of Ganga. So Ganga was flowing very fast from Navdeep, therefore, to merge into the sea and connect with the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Jagannatha, this is very interesting shloka. Dharu Brahma Rupe Sakat Sri Purushottama Bhagirati Haya Shakha Jala Brahma Shama. Lord Jagannatha is the Supreme Lord himself in the form of wood, and the river Ganges is the Supreme Lord himself in the form of water. We must remember this. Parasya Brahmana Shaktis Tadhedam Akhilam Jagat. Everything is a manifestation of the energy of the Supreme Lord, Brahman. Since the energy and energetic are identical, Shakti Shakti Matama Veda, actually in one sense everything is Krishna. But we shouldn't get lost in impersonal conceptions. We must understand how Krishna's energy is manifest as the Ganga. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Vidya Vachaspati, the 2 great scholars, to worship the Ganges. So it is nothing sentimental. So then Mahaprabhu himself said, I am going to Bengal for 2 reasons. Who can say? Who can say? Okay, one to see his mother Sachi Mata, the other one is to bathe in the Ganges. His mother Ganga. He said, I want to see my mother Sachi and I want to see my mother Ganga. Both I want to see. And so he came to the Ganga, he started glorifying. Please let us understand this. Anyone who bathes in Ganga, touches the Ganga, drinks Ganga, sees Ganga, or anyone who is touched by a breeze that has come from the Ganga will get Krishna Prema. This is the trick. If you want to make people say Hare Krishna, Hari Bol or glorify, increase the volume. And Kolevacha Sridhar worshipped the Ganga every day. Tahate Jeki Chuhaya Divase Upaya Tara Ardha Gangara Naivedya Lagi Jaya. He offered half of whatever he got in worship of Ganga. So that way, understanding this is very, very important. And Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Shrodasam Asmi Janavi. Among those who are of the flowing rivers, I am the Ganges. But we say, Vasudeva Katha Prashnaha Purusham Strin Punatihi. Bhaktaram Prichakam Shrotram Tat Pada Salilam Yata. The Ganges emanating from the toe of the Lord Vishnu purifies the 3 worlds. The upper, the middle and the lower planetary system. Similarly, when one asks questions about the pastimes and characteristics of Lord Vasudeva, Krishna, 3 varieties of men are purified. Who are the ones? The speaker, the listener, and the one who asked the question. All of them are. So then, people in general who listen are also benefited. So these are some pastimes about Ganga and the Gaudiya conception and Vaishnavas in general. Now we'll just spend some time about two wonderful Vaishnavas, one who disappeared today and one who appeared today. We'll speak about Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who appeared today. Very glorious life, born in the family of Venkata Bhatta, his son, in Ranganatha Kshetra, which is Dham. And Venkata Bhatta, there were three brothers, Tirumala Bhatta, Venkata Bhatta, and Prabuddha Bhatta, who later on became Prabodhanand Saraswati Thakur. Some places it is mentioned that he accepted sannyas from the Ramanuja Sampradaya. But we know that he has written so much in glorification of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Achaitanyam idam vishwam yadi chaitanyam ishwaram. He's mentioned. There is no Chaitanya in this world without Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the real Chaitanya. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki. So he is the real Chaitanya. So what did Mahaprabhu do? During Chaturmasya, he stayed with Venkata Bhatta's home and he accepted, the Mayavadis have a concept of, not Mayavadis, the Advaita sannyasis, they have a concept of accepting Bhiksha. Whether it's directly offered to Krishna or not, they say Brahmarpanam, Brahmavidam and all that. That mantra they say. But they accept Bhiksha from householder's place. So Mahaprabhu accepted Prasadam, of course, because they're all Vaishnavas. In Ranganatha Kshetra, they're all Vaishnavas. Even if you go now, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has established the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Sri Rangam. It is there. Our devotees have gone and seen. There's also some deity form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there that's carved by Vaishnavas. Gopal Bhatta Goswami was in one sense, so fortunate that he received the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at the earliest stage of his life. He was a little boy when Mahaprabhu was staying in Ranganatha Kshetra with Venkata Bhatta. And every day, Mahaprabhu used to give him his remnants. Just see the good fortune of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And if at all we have any conceptions of being Jat Brahmanas or South Indians or anything, it can get removed by accepting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Mahaprasadam. That's a classic example of Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who, though born in a bona fide Vaishnava Sampradaya, took remnants and association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and became the topmost Gaudiya Vaishnava. So much so, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami to look at him as their own brothers. Their own brother. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent his seat and kaupin and robe, tag, to him as a Mahaprasadam from Jagannath Puri. And he was instructed by Rupa Sanatan to write against apasampradayas and misuse of rituals. Like we know, one of my mentors, His Grace Madan Mohan Prabhu, mentions a very famous statement I keep repeating many times. ISKCON is spiritual. Completely spiritual. Srila Prabhupada is spiritual. Ambassador from the spiritual world. If you remove the SP of Srila Prabhupada and I of ISKCON, it is all ritual. Otherwise it is ritual. We simply do ritual. If we don't follow the Guru Parampara, if we don't follow the Guru Parampara and we don't stay within the association of devotees, International Society for Krishna Consciousness, it is all ritual. So, what he ensured was that typically South Indians have a smarta, many South Indian smarta Brahmanas are there. They're extremely ritualistic. They will make you feel like you're a mlecha. You may be an initiated Brahmana who is following all principles of purification. But they'll make you feel as if, you are one mlecha. They're just, smartas are they are typically what they call niyamagrahas. So, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami wanted to separate these understandings. So he wrote Satkriya Sara Deepika. Sri Krishna Janma Vidhi is also there. There are many books which have been brought out by ISKCON Deity Worship Ministry and the Gurukula. You'll find them, those who are interested can pick them up. So the wonderful deity installation, Pratishta Vidhi is also there. All this has been brought up by Gopal Bhatta Goswami as per the Gaudiya conception without conflicting with the so-called Sri Vaishnava conception. We must accept the fact that although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took two things from Madhva Sampradaya. What are the two things? Sri Vigraha Seva and Kevala Advaita Nirasana. Mayavadi bashing. These two things he took from Madhva Sampradaya. But we can see now the conception with which we worship Radha Krishna is what? Lakshmi Narayana. We worship them as Lakshmi Narayana. Radha Krishna deity worship is not possible in the material world. And in the spiritual world, they don't need to worship. So let us not be under illusion. We are worshipping Lakshmi Narayana. So these principles are all laid down. Even the Shatari that we place on people's head, it's not a Gaudiya conception. It is a Sri Vaishnava conception. Lot of principles that we follow in deity worship, because the Sri Vaishnavas perform wonderful, gorgeous deity worship. So Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami assimilated the best of both and incorporated it into his books. And it is not like he was just into this. When the Tattva Sandarbha was written and the Shat Sandarbha was compiled by Jiva Goswami mentions that there is a Brahmana from South India who compiled many of these texts, but because he is disorganized, I have put it together systematically. Who is that Brahmana? Gopal Bhatta Goswami. And one of the conditions that Gopal Bhatta Goswami had when Krishnadas Kaviraja Pad came to him and asked him about the pastimes of the Supreme Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was that, please don't put my name. My name should not appear in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leelas, in the book. This is the glories of a Vaishnava. He did not want his name being put in Tattva Sandarbha. So he indirectly had to allude Jiva Goswami. He did not want his name put in Chaitanya Charitamrita, whereas so much he has done. This is the glories of a great Vaishnava. He is Guna Manjari in Braja Leela. Some people say it's Ananga Manjari also. So, very, very special personality, because if we should pray to Gopal Bhatta Goswami that just like he meditated on Narasimha Chaturdashi, that the Lord should manifest from a Saligram Shila. Saligram Shilas kept coming back to him in Gandaki. It's not like he went to pick many devotees go to Gandaki river now to pick up Saligram Shilas, etc. They do it as instructed by spiritual authority. Many devotees go for fun also. But Saligram, he went there, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, he kept, many Vaishnavas say that he floated them back, saying that I don't want them back. I cannot be worshipping them so opulently. They kept coming back. So he acquired those Saligram Shilas. There were 12 major Shilas. We have hundreds again. His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami worships Saligram Shilas also. Lots of them. So these Saligram Shilas, one of them, they say it's a Damodar Shila. It's a very special Shila. At night, some merchant, some Vaishnavas say that he donated some wonderful dress and attire and everything. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami always had a desire, how do I gorgeously decorate the Supreme Lord? So, the next morning, the Supreme Lord manifested by himself as Radhika Raman. No. Because Rukmini Krishna Prabhu was there, I got confused. He appeared as Radha Raman. Of course, they are very different, no? Two personalities. Radha and Radhika are completely different. Or are they? No, they're not. So anyway, from Tattva they are the same, but in terms of Nama, they're different. It's Radha Raman. And there's a separate seat reserved for Srimati Radharani next to Raman. One of the few deities who did not have to travel outside Vraja during the whole inquisitions or attacks by Aurangzeb, because he's so chutku, you can save him anywhere. Of course, we get into a teddy bear mode, like, Laddu Gopal is teddy bear, one contemporary Acharya says. We worship him like that. Mero Radha Raman, we don't get into that mode. He's still a Supreme Personality of Godhead. We show photographs with teeth jutting out and everything. God knows we should not get these upper sampradayas come in. Because the topmost deity worship is performed for Radha Raman Dev. Srila Prabhupada personally confirmed. Radha Raman Ji. Wonderful music is offered to him. Great worship is being offered to him. And Madan Mohan, Govinda and Gopinath, all their forms are there as they are meant to be. The lotus feet, the navel and the lotus face. They're all present in that same sequence as the way they should be. They're very similar. So very, very special deity. And we worship them gorgeously. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami Samadhi is also there in that same prangan or the proximity or the precincts. So his greatest contribution to our Vaishnava Sampradaya is that coming from a Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya background, he assimilated the best standards of a Vaishnava Sampradaya, bringing it to the Gaudiya conception, 1. 2, he smashed ritualistic activity and unnecessary rituals, so to say, and put it from a completely Vaishnava perspective. 3, he wrote extensively on philosophy. Hari Bhakti Vilas of Sanatana Goswami is also the initial hard work and the research was done by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So, and he was instructed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to initiate. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami also instructed him. And his greatest disciple is who? Srinivasa Acharya, who wrote the Shad Goswami Ashtakam. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghu Yugau Sri Jiva Gopalakau. So, and today's connection with the other festival of Ramchandra Kaviraja's disappearance. Ramchandra Kaviraja is the disciple of Srinivasa Acharya. And there are some wonderful pastimes related to Ramchandra Kaviraja also. That some Rup Narayan was a so-called Digvijay Pandit. He and several Smartha Brahmanas wanted to defeat Narottam Das Thakur. So, Ramchandra Kaviraja and another disciple of Narottam Das Thakur, they went and disguised themselves as a panwala and a pot maker, and they were in the market. So these Smartha Brahmanas came and Ramchandra Kaviraja started conversing with them in strong Sanskrit. Just smashed their philosophy. So much even Rup Narayan was smashed. So our Acharya is very special. So then they told that it's just a disciple of Narottam Das Thakur can smash you like this. Sorry, of Srinivasa Acharya can smash you like this. What to speak about debating with Narottam Das Thakur and Srinivasa Acharya and all these people. And a very special relationship. Although Narottam Das Thakur was the friend of Srinivasa Acharya, they were Shiksha disciples of Jiva Goswami. Narottam Das Thakur is Loknath Goswami's disciple and Srinivasa Acharya is Gopal Bhatta Goswami's disciple. But Ramchandra Kaviraj, who is a disciple of Srinivasa Acharya, had a very special relationship with Narottam Das Thakur. That is why he says Ramachandra Sangam again Narottama Das. And around the same time, they both passed away, Ramchandra Kaviraj and his Gurudev, because later on when they, and when Narottam Das Thakur came to know about it, that is when he wrote Jayanila Premadana. Please let us remember, when he says, Heno Prabhu Kotha Gela Acharya Thakur, that Acharya is not just any Acharya, that is Srinivasa Acharya. We should be very clear. So we should sing Acharya Thakur, we must understand, we talk about Srinivasa Acharya Thakur. There could be other Acharyas also, but first we should sing Acharya Thakur and then we should sing about other Acharyas. Some people, like Prabhupada's disappearance day, Srila Loknath Maharaj sang Prabhupada Thakur. After that you can sing. But fundamentally the words of Vaishnava Bhajan should not be changed. First it should be Acharya Thakur, it is clearly Srinivasa Acharya. So Ramchandra Kaviraj had several other pastimes in him. He had disciples also. And okay, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, there's one pastime I forgot to tell you. This is very interesting. Gopal Bhatta Goswami once blessed a Brahmana and his wife. They never had children, that you should have a son. And that Brahmana then promised that my first son I will give you. So after 10 years, that person came to Gopal Bhatta Goswami and surrendered, and he became Gopinath, his initial disciple. He worshipped Radharaman for very, 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 very many years. So, once Ramchandra Kaviraj he took bath in the Ganges and he was on his way home. The Shaktas confronted him, saying, why are you worshipping? Your grandfather, your father, everybody was worshipping Damodar Kaviraj, not your father. Your grandfather was worshipping Lord Shiva. Why are you not worshipping Vishnu? So then Ramchandra Kaviraj clarified the whole conception. Brahma and Shiva are Gunavataras, they are incarnations of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna, whose expansion Vishnu has expanded into these. So it is mentioned that Prahlada and Dhruva, though they were born in a Asuri family, Daitya family, Dhruva was not, Prahlada was, they worshipped the Supreme Lord. Vibhishana also worshipped the Supreme Lord. But on the other hand, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, Banasura, others, they were enemies of Krishna. They were solely devoted to Shiva. So just being devoted to Shiva doesn't mean anything. They were solely devoted to Shiva. Kama isthayatir hrita jnana prapatyante anya devata. People say, what is wrong in worshipping Shiva if you are asking for devotion to the Supreme Lord? Because it's Vaishnava Namyata Shambhu. But the nature of worshipping even great Vaishnavas as demigods, whether it is Hanumanji or whether it is Lord Shiva in their demigod forms, or even Garudadev, who is the foremost Vaishnava, we must understand that they can award benedictions which are originally given by the Supreme Lord. But when we approach them with material desires, they give us kapat kripa, mixed mercy they give us. They just give it to us. Because of which we don't get the real thing. Dhruva Maharaj said, I came after pieces of glass when actually I should have gone for the diamond. So then it is very important for us that we don't get into this demigod worship. The second offense to the holy name is also that. To worship demigods like Lord Shiva or Brahma, or to consider their names to be independent to or equal to the names of Lord Vishnu or Supreme Lord. So that's and Ramchandra Kaviraja wrote a wonderful bhajan also. Dekhe dekhe are bhai Gauranga Chanda Prakash Purnimara Chanda Jena Udita Akash Simha Rasi Purnamasi Gaura Avatar Chadala Yugera Bhara Dharani Nistar Mahitale Acharya Jateka Jivatapa Harala Sakala Pahu Nijahi Pratapa Kaliyuge Tapa Japa Nahi Kona Tantra Prakashila Mahaprabhu Hare Krishna Mantra Premere Badara Kari Bhorila Samsara Pataki Naraki Saba Paila Nistara Andha Avadi Jata Kore Parakasha Bindu Na Padila Mukhe Ramchandra Dasa. Just an extraordinary poet also. And in Vraja Leela he is Karuna Manjari. So we must pray to him that we have the same Guru Nishtha that he has to his Guru, that he protected the interests of the Sampradaya also. The attachment that he had, that when the spiritual master passed away, he also passed away. And the friendship he had with Vaishnavas that he shared with Narottam Das Thakur. We must have at least one or two good friends in Krishna consciousness with whom we can reveal everything. And we must pray to Gopal Bhatta Goswami today that from our stone-like, steel-framed heart, the Supreme Lord could manifest. And we could pray to Mother Ganga that we could also connect to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes like she did. And on Makar Sankranti, we could use this opportunity to distribute prasadam and books. Because Ganga is better, but even better is Gita, which is coming from the lotus meat of the Lord, lotus mouth of the Lord. And that's why Bhagavad Gita Marathon is still going on. Please don't forget. Please distribute your Gitas today. Srila Prabhupada Ki, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami Avirbhav Titi Mahamotsav Ki, Srila Ramchandra Kaviraja Bhav Titi Mahamotsav Ki, Makar Sankranti Mahaparva Ki, Ganga Sagar Mela Ki, Nitai Nitai Gaur Sitanath Premanande. So we'll have Pushpanjali of the 6 Goswamis now. Prabhuji will be leading the Pushpanjali. Please let us go there. And questions can be taken later because of this festival. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Water doesn't, I set the same example. Air doesn't get contaminated by its own. There may be impurities.
हरे कृष्णा. तो सब भक्त लोग आ जाएं. जहाँ 6 गोस्वामी खड़े हैं, अभी पुष्पांजलि शुरू करेंगे. सब लोग मेरे पीछे बोलें. ओम अज्ञान